All right. Hello, everybody out there. Welcome back to another fantastic Acti game event where we will today be dealing with the game The Conflict. Just as aggressive and power packed as you're expecting with such a title. Today, I've brought along my colleague Tor, who's a sales member here at Acti. Tor, do you want to say a little hi?
Hi. Yeah, I can short introduce myself. I'm head of Nordics here at Acti. I work with our universities all around the Nordics, the companies, and with all the consultancies as well. So I'm so delighted to be here today, like so excited.
And I think you've also had to deal with your share of office conflicts, maybe even been the center of one or two. Maybe that's going to be some interesting takeaways for today's discussions.
That's true. I have. We will, of course, make a dive into that, I'm sure. But yeah, I've had some interesting positions where I definitely have tried this topics one or twice. So yeah,
All right, that's going to be it's going to be super interesting to hear your take on this game then. But before we dive into the game itself, I just quickly wanna tell you a little bit about what we're going to be doing for the next hour. So first, I'm going to explain a little bit about what is Acti for those of you who don't know out there. Then I'm going to explain a little bit about behind the game before you guys play it so that it's super easy for you to just kind of get into it and get going. And while you guys are playing the game, Tor and I are also going to play a few chapters. We're going to facilitate a few of them and open up for some discussions for you guys as well. And then we're going to take a look at the host view, which is sort of the back end of the game, and where we get all of the data and all of the really cool information about what's happening behind the scenes. And then we'll open up for some questions, and that's going to be our event. And I think we should just quickly dive in because an hour is not that much time when you are having fun. So quickly, let me start with Acti. So we've been here for 20 years now, and we are global providers of game-based workplace learning. So especially within organizational development, and have been doing so for, yeah, as you see, a while. We have plus 120 games and simulations, and of course those numbers are growing all the time because we have so many cool partners out there who are always messaging us, helping us making new games, creating their own cool games, and different projects making new games. So there's always a growing portfolio of games and simulations on the Acti platform. And just like with the games and the simulations, of course, theories and methods are also evolving all the time. So are the theory layers in the platform. And as mentioned, we have over 2,500 certified activists worldwide. Again, also growing all the time, and you can just imagine how many super cool game ideas, theories, and methodologies we get with all of these new people who are being onboarded to Acti. So the Acti universe and the platform around it is growing, and so keep coming back because next time it'll probably have changed a little bit. All right. And just to quickly mention a little bit about some of the pains that we actually deal with. So our games and simulations cover all of these pains that you see here, some of them directly, but also a lot indirectly. And it's difficult to separate a lot of these pains from each other. So most simulations will actually cover multiple of these pains at a time, meaning that you're actually getting a lot. Even maybe you just needed to become a better manager, but you are maybe also dealing with conflict, or you're dealing with DE&I issues, you're dealing with communication, or you're dealing with change management on top of that. So these pains are really inseparable, and you will most likely, if you make a game, you will make a game covering probably 3 or 4 of these pains, making it a lot much broader learning experience. Um, so as you can see, we have a lot of areas you can focus into and the sky is really the limit when you want to make a game. So The reason we are here today is because of the game The Conflict, which is the one you will be playing soon. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the game and how to get into it, and then you will get a link once I've done that. But the game we're dealing with today is The Conflict. It's a game based on Daniel Goldman's Six Leadership Styles, making this a leadership game. But of course, dealing with conflicts is it's not just a one thing. So you will see as well as you enter the game how there are multiple layers you will have to kind of focus on throughout this game. We're going to play it online in a battle mode setting, meaning that you each get to play on your own, and you will get your points added up, which means at the end we will be able to see that who got the highest points, who is the winner, who is the ultimate conflict solutioner. Um, so that is very quickly about how we're going to play it online, as I mentioned. Of course, it's all of our games are also available on like as a floorboard, a physical game, but we're also seeing some great sessions out there where you are actually um, using both. So doing both the physical elements of playing Acti games, but also doing it online. So you get this very cool interactive data module, which we'll of course also show you when we get a little bit further today. And what you need to know about the game board is that this is a barometer game board. We have 3 different game boards here at Acti, and this is our barometer model. And the game itself is about how you have become this leader, this manager of a project at a construction site. And you kind of have to get this whole team of people who've never worked together before, have different levels of experience, both with the company, but also like professional experience. So you kind of have to deal with this whole team of people who've never worked together before and have very different ways of thinking how teamwork is and how it should run. And you are new as well, so you have sort of 2 goals you have to keep top of mind when you're playing, which is implement the project effectively, so like actually get the project done, reach your deadlines. But you also have to create cooperation and shared responsibility within this project, so actually making sure that the team is working together in a dynamic flow. So those are, as you see my mouse, the bottom here, you have these 2 goals penciled out in these 2 boxes beneath your barometer here. So on top of these 2 goals, you will see this speedometer throughout the game, and you will have your little stakeholders placed here. And your goal is on top of your main goals, of course, to make sure that your team moves into the green area of the speedometer, meaning that they are happy, they are doing well. It's a good climate to be in. So those are the most important elements to kind of keep an eye on and top of mind once you enter the game. As mentioned earlier, it's a game based on Daniel Goleman's 6 leadership styles. I'm not gonna go too deep into the theory. I think of those of you who know it, you know it really well, and of those of you who don't, I think you can probably understand a lot through this slide. But there are these 6 styles, and actually the goal is to touch each style or each leadership style throughout the game, not just choosing one all the way. Um, and each time you make a choice throughout the game, it's going to be linked to one of these leadership styles. And each choice, of course, is going to affect your goals. But on top of that, it's also going to affect your stakeholders. So this you will also be able to see in the game. I'm going to show you when we get in there. But it's just to show you that each stakeholder that you're dealing with actually have their own individual barometers. So every time you make a choice, you're going to affect the individual 6 barometers, making them move on the speedometer the one or the other way. Um, and that can be very difficult to keep track of, especially when you have a lot of stakeholders, very much so as in real life. So we're not making it easy here for you guys. We really are trying to simulate what is going to happen. I'm going to show you this in the game as well. It's going to make a little bit more sense, I think, like if I do it that way. So in a minute, you guys are going to get to play the game. But before that happens, I'm just going to show you how you actually get into the platform so that there's no confusion about that. So once a link is sent out in the chat, it will be so in like 2-3 minutes. You will click it and you will enter this site, which is our Acti guest login. So I'm just going to enter my name here, Test Ida, and I continue. And then you choose your occupation. This has more relevance when you are playing it in real sessions, of course, but I'm also going to show you the value of this in here. But if you don't find your occupation exactly, then it doesn't necessarily mean the end of the world for this exact event. So I'm just going to choose employee, and then I will join the session. And here you see you have the game. It's going to be played in English, and you can actually also download a handout about the game, but we are just going to click straight on play game. And then here we are entering the game. So first, there is a lot of information, background information here that I really suggest that you read, because without the background information, it gets really difficult to kind of figure out what situation you are standing in. And here you see the game board, as I also showed you in a screenshot. Here you will see the barometers move up and down for each chapter every time you've made a choice. And here you have your speedometer, where you will see your people, your stakeholders move around. You can actually click on your stakeholders and you will get an overview. You can see it's a pretty big team and they are all in the red area you see with the little numbers up here. And then you can actually go even further into the people. There is a characteristics of the person, a little bit of background information about them. And then you see their current individual barometers. So this is where they're at right now. And of course, the more time you have to kind of dig into this information, the better suited you are to actually make your decisions, because you have a little bit of an idea where your people are at. I'm not gonna, and I don't think Tor is either. When we get to playing, we're not gonna dig quite so much into it, but you can really get a deep understanding of how to use Daniel Goleman's emotional intelligence if you study these parameters for each choice you make. So those are the stakeholders. They will move, they will have comments, and every time you are ready to sort of move on, you just click continue. And then you will get your first option. So Mohammed, I think we're ready to send out the game link. It's going to show up in your comments any second now. And while you guys start playing, Tor and I are going to play the first few chapters online
Woo!
here as well. Just mute us if we get too annoying, or join in, whatever you want. But we are going to be talking here so you can get a little bit of peace and quiet to play the game yourself. And then once you guys have sort of finished playing the game, join back in here and we're going to look at the host view and some facilitation questions and the data. So I think the link has been sent.
Yeah,
Very cool. Are you ready to play, Tor?
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Okay,
I'm so ready.
exciting. I forgot to mention that this game is so of course every game at Acti there is it's a simulation. There is a background company and so on. So this game is actually set being in a construction company. Do you have a lot of experience in construction, Tor?
No, not really. I know a lot of people that have been and are in construction, but not me.
Not you.
No, definitely not.
So
But thanks for asking.
so but then why is it that we're Acti, we work on workplace learning, right? How come we have a game, actually a really good game, focusing on a construction company?
I think one of the reasons is it's so easy when you have to simulate a real life event to move it out of your own terms, out of your own industry. It's easier for everyone when it's not your daily job and what you talk about normally. So, if we were to simulate a change or leadership topics, and for instance, this topic as a conflict, it's so easy to talk about um, being a manager of a construction site. So I
Mm,
believe it's it's easy for everyone to just change the scene and trying to balance authority and inclusion when it's not your real life work. So I
mm.
think this case can be used wherever you work or what level you're at or what industry you work in. Then it's so easy to jump into this. Of course, if you are in the construction industry, you can of course work with this as well.
Definitely, but I agree with you that like it can get so difficult to kind of get a clear perspective if you're dealing with something that's close to you, right? Like if you're taking a real conflict from the workplace and you have to work with that. But I agree. I think this is a great game, no matter what industry you are in, because here we just have some very tangible deadlines that we kind of have to meet, right? And some a tangible product we have to deal with, making it very clear that this is the stage we're in.
Yeah, so I believe that you have conflicts no matter what industry you're in. So this is just an example for where to have a conflict.
All right. I'm just seeing here, yeah, there is a little bit of trouble with the link in the chat. I'm just gonna try and send it again. I think Mohammed is on it, but Mohammed is on it, so don't despair. You will get into the game, no worries. Um, yeah, okay. But until then, I can just quickly mention about the first chapter here is that you've basically gotten your background information right. You have this company, or you are a leader in this company, your first leading project, and you are dealing with a pretty big team, which have never worked together before, coming from different experiences with different amounts of time with the company and different ways of working together. So, like, I think it's pretty safe to say that you could not be starting in a worse position, having to manage a team, because you basically have to start right from the scratch, right? Like, really, like with icebreakers and that kind of thing, would be my assumption at least.
Yeah,
And the first initial choice you have to make is how do you get off to a good start? And you
yeah.
have these six options, of course.
And sometimes I think it could be more difficult when you are promoted from the self same construction site because of all your relations and how you know people and how they know you and the previously maybe conflicts that have been. But it's definitely tough to start somewhere new.
Hmm. Have you already made your choice, Tor?
No, I have read the 6 different answers, and um, I am in between two of them. Maybe number one, to get the expectations in place.
Mm-hmm.
I begin making clear to the group what I expect and what I will not tolerate in the group, because entering this game, and it's all about balancing authority and inclusion. So I want a group that actually rely and trust each other, but I also want to make my own expectations very clear.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do think number five, I summoned the employees together for a number of information meetings about the
Mm-hmm.
company's vision. So I think I will choose number five.
Okay, I was between 5 and 6, so I'm gonna choose number 6 just to see what happens, which is a chance for development. It's about talking to each person and kind of asking them a little bit about what are they expecting for this project and how would they like to focus their expertise. Because I don't know them yet, right?
It makes so much sense, and I actually like when you don't agree as a group on a topic like this, because that's where the magic happens. Because of course, normally I would ask you why you think that. Have you experienced anything before like this? Or so actually think this starts a really good conversation. I got a plus 30.
Okay, those are big numbers.
Yes.
Plus 30. How many how are your people looking?
Yeah, that could have been a bit better. So I definitely had more impact on the effectively of the project, but I think the people are with me so far, at least when I look at your screen, then I've done very good.
Okay, so they're more with you than they're with me, is what you're saying.
Yes, of course.
I think that that usually means that you get this one, right?
Yeah, I like it.
All right. Okay, cool. And I have 33 points, and you see my people are definitely snailing their way, if even moving.
Yeah. And
And
I
actually, I wanted to just draw a little bit of focus on this, the facilitation guide, which we have on most of our games, which is a really, really nice overview for the facilitator of the ACT games. It kind of gives you an overview of the chapter setup, what options does what to the game board, and the progress of the game. But it also has like a facilitation chapters. So meaning that after each chapter, you actually get some pre-written questions you can ask. And I think it's the reason I chose to bring it in now is because Tua, you actually chose option number 5, the bigger picture, right? And I can see here in the facilitation guide, it says this is an interesting choice to reflect on.
hmm,
And it says, why is this choice actually the best choice? So Tua, it looks like you actually did choose the best option.
all right. All right. It's a tough question as well, right? Why is this the
Definitely, and I'm
best?
not a, you don't have to you don't have to answer it because that's going to be I think a little bit of an essay trying to analyze your way through this.
Yeah, I just
But
like the
it's
question.
definitely a super interesting question. Like imagine if you're a group of, I don't know, 10 people, right? And you have to sit and discuss this. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we do another chapter
Yeah, I'm
before we
ready. I'm
see
so
how
ready.
people are doing?
I'm so ready.
All right. So the next chapter is about how um, you've kind of started the project, right? And you've gotten the wheels to turn, but it seems like the work environment that you were hoping for is not really here. Like employees are not really bonding. They have different ideas of what responsibility means and what teamwork means. So you're kind of like you actually thought that it was the ball was rolling, and now you're kind of reaching a little bit of a halt because your efforts so far have clearly not given the wished results. So again, you are having this issue with how do we get a team to work and not just multiple small teams that are working against each other. And again, we have 6 choices.
And whenever you have worked with management, of course, whenever you think everything just is smooth and going your way, then of course something will happen, right?
Obviously.
Um, yeah.
Sorry.
Um, I have. I think it's a tough one because before I was quite. I think I was quite informative and inclusive.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking about what to answer now, because maybe I have to set a more individual adaptation. I think I would go the democratic way and go with number 3.
Okay. I set
Um, s-
time aside during the week to talk with all of the employees and hear what's on their mind.
Yeah, would I normally do that? No, I don't think so.
No?
Because would you? It depends, of course. Would you have the time? And that's we could talk about that forever as well. It's all about capability and resources, time management. But I will take it because it's an option. I will go
Yeah.
with number three. How about you, Ida?
I think I'm gonna go with number four. Now because this is not what you would normally do, this is definitely what I would do. I would be like, okay, we have a deadline. When this deadline is handed, we are having a party and everybody has to come. Um, I'm not entirely sure if this is a pace setting, but this is definitely me.
I like that. Let's see what we get.
I got total score 31.
I got a +2.
Okay.
And the feedback I got was the employees think it's a great style of leadership. Some laugh at you, however, and call you mom. I don't think that was what I was going for. Um, Being a manager of a construction site, be called a mom. Yeah, maybe it wasn't the right audience.
I'm
But
going to. Sorry, Tua, please continue.
yeah, you also mentioned that as you play through the chapters, after each chapter, you can read about every stakeholder that actually are in the game. So if I read those, maybe I wouldn't go with the mom direction.
All right.
Am
So
I
what I'm
in?
doing here on the screen is I just entered the host view. So this is where you kind of get the backside of what you're doing. And I just unclicked all of you so we get a clear focus on Tora and me. And Tora, you are red and I'm orange. So you are a little bit ahead of me, actually.
Yeah, 1 point or so, right? Yeah, thank you.
Interesting. But the game is not over yet. A lot can happen.
Okay.
So here we can see that, and I actually just wanted to find my result text here. The employees like to have the project described as concretely as possible, but they think that the style is unnecessarily stressful. The idea of a party is a really great new initiative, but this way of buying them off, I mean, and maybe it's a way of buying them off. Maybe it's just a way of adding an extra team bonding experience. I don't know. I guess that's up to the individual to kind of determine. So
Sometimes I
I'm
could
buying them
be.
off and you're the
You gotta
mom.
butt me with a party. You gotta butt me up sometimes with a party.
All right, it's good to know being my colleague and all.
Yeah.
Um, but Tor, I actually we talked about this earlier. You actually have been in a position like very similar to this case, right?
Yes.
Um, would you mind just very shortly, like doing a little overview for us about what happened?
Yeah, it's very similar to this game. I started a manager position in a middle-sized organization, and I had the responsibility for two departments, and they have been there between 6 months and 15 years, just like this game. So the experience differs very greatly, and of course they were from the age of 20 to the age of 60. So there was a lot to handle just when I took over, and it's just like playing this game. Um, there are subcultures within the same culture, so you really have to figure out uh, what is their relations, how do I get the respect I want, how do I give them the respect, how do I actually balancing my authority while being inclusive.
So what
So
was
yeah,
your initial move, like the first one here we had in chapter one? How did you deal with that
in the real life
in the real
scenario.
life scenario? Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to be very clear from the start, but I was actually trying to be very observative from the start and the get-go. So I didn't draw any conclusions, just try to actually invite them all in to hear how they experienced the current situation, where they wanted the company to go, the results, how they saw the culture, how could I improve, and just stated my visions and
Mhm.
how I wanted to go on forward. So I was very interviewing, analyzing, and then after a month or two, I set a very clear. But it was I was trying to be very inclusive as well. So it was not only my agenda; it was
Mhm.
all of us that actually had a say.
Yeah, so very democratic, visionary also, I would say, leadership styles at play here. And actually, if you had had access to a game like this that could potentially simulate a few different outcomes, do you think that would have been a useful tool for you before entering that position in the real world?
Great question. Of course, whenever you start somewhere new, it's difficult to be simulating a change, but it would have helped in some scenarios as a manager because it would have been great to talk about the different options in the top management team to what could be the consequences of us being more democratic or should we be more pace setting. And these results wouldn't be the most important thing for me, but the to create a common language would
Hmm.
definitely help trying to navigate the changes we were looking into, trying to steer in another direction, of course, with my inputs. So that would definitely have helped me a lot to play a game like this with the management team to talk about. So yeah, that would
So,
have
like, it
helped.
would have helped you as a manager or as a leader of this project. Do you think it would also have been a beneficial for the team to play this?
Yeah, it depends on who you are as a manager, of course. But I think in the same case to create a common language, I think
Hmm.
would have helped the team. Also for me to get some knowledge to for them to share. So I actually think that would have helped the team as well, in a great deal actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that even if it's not the same issues you're having, right? Like it is, as you're saying, a common ground, a safe place to talk about something that's not quite real, but could potentially become it. So how do we deal with this if it does?
And also because you in this game you are actually trying to bench two things, and I think it's very important for whatever level you're at that you are actually of course there is results, it's a business,
Hmm.
but how do we get there? Is it through to be how to be efficient you can be, as quick as possible, or is it through creating some cooperation and shared responsibility? So I actually think this game is quite neat to visualize for the entire team that we are actually trying to measure more than one KPI.
Hmm. Definitely. All right. Thank you, Tor. I think
Hmm?
we should. It looks like the, this is the first of all. This is the host view. So this is where I'm keeping track of you guys playing the game. And it actually looks like you. I'm just gonna select you again. Looks like you've made it quite far. Most of you have finished. Oh, not you, Brit. Just take you off for a second. I'm also gonna remove us, Tor.
How
Our
are they
data is
doing?
pretty boring. Here we are. So actually, this is the host view. This is where we can keep an updated view on your choices. So everybody I've clicked on now have completed all 5 chapters. And this is how they are spaced in goal 1 and the same with goal 2. And you see up here, like you only get 1 dot per person. But that means that this is sort of the average of where your stakeholders are. If I just quickly unselect everybody here and just click on 1, you will get exactly where your stakeholders are at. So that's pretty neat that you can kind of see. Oh, not you, Tor. that you can kind of see how, like for example, here we have Henry, that's red, how he's actually a little bit behind on implementing the project effectively, but the climate of the team is in green as the only one having played this game today. So I think that's something to think about, especially in this game, is how moving the project along is talking against the environment or the climate of the team. Do you recognize that as well from real life?
Yeah, I definitely do. And I think that it differs from manager to manager if they would think there is a one solution that's the best. And some managers would say means to an end and it's the way to the goal that's more important.
Mm,
So I actually like the fact that you can see there's a guy called Theo. I
yes,
don't know if
yellow.
that's the TH down on one of them.
Yeah,
Um,
Theo is yellow.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's on top as he has implemented the project very effectively. But
Hmm.
he's the one who actually have lost most of the cooperation and shared responsibility.
Yeah.
And that's for me is very, very interesting to
Mm.
talk about and discuss. Um,
Yeah, like how do you weigh what to do?
yes, as a consultant or manager, I would definitely put a question mark to that. We made it very effectively. We
Mhm.
already done, but how is the current status? Has
But
anybody
everybody
left
quit.
us? Or having a huge fight on the construction side, but it's done, right? We're done.
Yeah. I mean, we
Let's
finished. I lost the team, but we finished.
can we turn this fight into a party?
Are you still coming to my party though?
Oh,
Yeah, no. So this is sort of the facilitator's view, and it's a super great jumping off board for some super intriguing discussions in teams about, okay, I see, Tor, you chose this and it gave these results, but Henry, you actually did the opposite and it gave this, and then having a discussion from that. If I just quickly jump over here. It's a very cooking show. This is one I created earlier. This is from when I played the game through this morning. And this is then how I get my personal data profile, showing me sort of, okay, I'm having this ranking, all-time ranking. I'm ranked as 60% in the top. I can see I'm number 24 out of the people who've played this with the highest score. Um, so that's of all time players who's ever played this game. Um, and then you have a little bit of a list here showing you all of the competences you are actually touching base on when you're playing this game. A little bit like I mentioned with the pains earlier, it's not you're not just working with leadership or with conflict handling. You're also working with communication and you're working with teamwork and you're working with change, right? So sometimes it's nice to just get very, very black on white. This is actually what you've dealt with. So if you thought it was a little complicated, it's probably because it was a little complicated. And then you scroll down and you can actually see you have a spider map, I think it's called, of your theory. So your choices, as I mentioned, are each connected to a Daniel Goleman leadership style. And if I just close the comparison here, I am the orange. And in the questions that I've answered here, it have been, oh, it's a little bit difficult to read. I have been very democratic. So this up here, it says democratic, even though it's very small. So where I would actually like the goal would have been to make a nice sort of even-ish circle. I have definitely focused mainly on this one leadership style. I've touched a little bit on the affiliative, a little bit on visionary, and a little bit on coaching. But I have definitely not been pacemaking and I have not been commanding at all. And these different leadership styles do different things and also affects people differently. So again, the more you kind of read about the stakeholders and their feedback for every time you make a choice, the better you can also kind of figure out which leadership style would actually be optimal to use in this exact situation. And then I can compare it to like the other players of this game. Um, and this pink one is very nicely evenly divided, unlike my um, very high orange democratic style. So this would be a really nice result, having a sort of even layout here. If you scroll further down, you can again get a little bit of a deeper look into the styles you've chosen. So again, you can kind of see how I've not touched the pace setting style, I've not touched the commanding style, and the democratic style is my main. And you can also kind of get an overview within each leadership style here about how you focused, being the dark colors versus every other session player being a little bit more faded out. And you actually get some both positive and negative feedback about each choices. So you can get this really clear view about which style does what. I think that's kind of what there is to say about the personal data. Do you have anything to add, Tor?
Yeah, I actually do, because I was just thinking about, now you're playing on your own, I'm playing on my own, but you're also able to log in as a group. You can play in groups of 3 or how many you would like. Up, let's
Mhm.
say you're a group of 5. Then these data will show you how your leadership skills are within the group, and it could be quite fun to see how you would play it on your own, and then also how are your leadership skills as a group.
Mhm.
Does it look like the CEO, maybe, if you are a top management team, or how much do you differ from yourself? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great point, Tor, that the team challenge I haven't mentioned at all is another way of playing Axie games. So it's where you are actually either physically or digitally you're sat together and you have to make your own choice, but you then also have to, as a team, make one choice. And some really cool discussions happen in that process because, of course, you have some thoughts about how you would do things. But so does everybody, and the other people also have some valued opinions and perspectives. So you are really, really growing in these discussions about how you do it, and you're really evolving your understanding as well for like the 5 other options, for example. So the team challenge is really good. We had an old colleague who used to describe the team challenge a little bit like a book club. So of course you can read a book by yourself, like you can play Axie by yourself, right? And you'll get a magical experience likely. But when you get to book club, you catch on all of the things that everybody else caught on that you maybe didn't. Like you get all of these extra layers, and it's really really imperative information that comes out of these debates. That was a big sales pitch on Team Challenge. Apologies. Back to the to the main event here. So I think since you guys have finished playing mostly, I would love for you, if you have any questions, please just add them in the chat and we will get to them. Um, there's a little bit of delay, so please message them now and we'll get them as soon as they pop up here with like 10 seconds delay. And while you do that, I will just quickly mention that we have some upcoming games or upcoming game events that you guys can go in and sign up for, exactly like this one. You find them in our LinkedIn under events, and it's free and there's no registration or anything. You literally just click attend and then you'll get a nice little notification where you can then decide whether or not you want to show up on the day. Just wanted to mention that quickly before the questions all jump up. But until then, Tor, what do you think is actually the most difficult element? I mean, now you've both played the game, but you've actually also had this real life experience. What do you think was the most difficult part? I mean, I know it's difficult trying to balance the, the goal and the climate, but was there one thing that you were like
Yeah,
that you could
yeah,
sort of single out?
yes, that was the culture that I have to join as a new leader, and subcultures and how things normally are done. So that's so changes in generally, that was actually my mainly concern, because it has been created by the current people that is employed at the place right now. So when you're changing something, for example, as like the culture, you're actually changing the personality's perspective of how things should be done. So it's quite easy to play a game. It's more difficult to implement it, but I think you are better prepared when you have played this game. So you are better. You're more set to set a clear and shared goals, and I think it's easier to bridge the cultural gaps when you have
Hmm.
actually played this game.
Hmm. All right. Thank you. I agree with you. I think that like in my mind, like, yeah, you can have a conflict at work, of course. La la la. I don't think I had really thought about how intertwined it actually can be. Like thinking about different layers, different people, but also different goals and different ways of seeing life. It's not quite as simple as I once thought it to be.
No, and if you're very brave, you will, of course, as a team manager, play this game with your current squad if you are willing to get the feedback right now.
Hmm.
But then you also invite for all the feedback that they actually have.
I mean, feedback is great, right? But it should best be positive.
Yes, and you cannot just invite them to a meeting and then be called a mom, right?
No,
I've never actually
no.
been called a mom on job, so that's a first. That's a first for everything, I guess.
Yeah, I guess there is. It's definitely not my first time being like, are you trying to buy us off with a party? Mm, maybe. All right. All right. I don't see any questions coming in, but I would just like to say for those of you watching this at a later stage, this video is of course available. If you have any questions, please just make a comment. It doesn't matter if it's a week from now or a month from now. We will definitely be watching these comment threads and we will be there to answer any questions you might have. Um, if you have if we've piqued your interest on Acti, please don't hesitate to reach out to us or book a demo or something. We would love to have a chat about it. So unless there's anything else, I think thank you for joining us today. It has been a great event. It looks like there's been some really cool players dealing with some conflict situations who did a lot better than I did, at least.
I agree.
But at least I was only competing with you, Tor, so I'm only a little bit the loser.
Yes, I agree. I cannot say anything else, but I agree.
All right. Do you
Thanks
have
for.
anything you want to add just on the final few seconds, Tor?
No, I won't take any of your time. I'll just say thank you for joining me and having me. It was a pleasure to playing the game and sharing some thoughts.
It was great to have you, Tor. And next week it won't be Tor, but Isabella, who will be dealing with communicating across cultures. So we'll see if she can do it as well as you, Tor.
Let's see.
All right. Everybody, have a great afternoon, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye.